How to play Kingdomino. Kingdomino is a strategy tile placement game for 2 to 4 players. It's great as an introduction to tabletop games and is also fantastic as a family game or for a quick game during game night because it takes 5 minutes to learn and 15 minutes to play. Before we get into the rules, let's take a look at the components. 4 square tiles, 1 for each colour. 8 meeples, 2 for each colour. 4 castles, which you pop out and assemble yourself. And 48 domino tiles, one side with numbers from 1 to 48 and on the other illustrations of several different terrain types. In Kingdomino, you play a king looking to expand their kingdom. You must explore and take wheat fields, oceans, marshlands, gardens, woodlands and mines to establish the most prosperous kingdom. Setting up the game takes very little time. Each player chooses a colour and takes 2 king meeples if you're playing a 2-player game, or 1 king meeple if you're playing a 3 or 4-player game. Then each player takes a starting tile that matches their colour and places a corresponding castle on top of it. Thoroughly shuffle all of the dominoes and create a draw pile. For a 2-player game, use 24 dominoes, 36 dominoes for a 3-player game, and all 48 dominoes for a 4-player game. Before you begin playing, draw 4 dominoes and lay them out in numerical order from lowest to highest. For a 3-player game, use 3 dominoes. Then flip them so their terrain side is showing. To decide who goes first, take all of the king meeples in your hands and shake them. Drop 1 meeple at random to decide the first player. The first player places the king meeple on any of the dominoes, and this continues until all dominoes have been selected. There can only be 1 king meeple per domino. When all the dominoes have a king meeple on them, form a new column of dominoes as before. You are now ready to play the game. The player to go first is the one to have their king meeple on the first domino. They take the domino and add it to their territory and then choose a new domino by placing their king meeple on it. Note that in a 2-player game, players will do this twice per turn. Then, create a new column of dominoes as before, and play continues until all dominoes have been used. And then the scoring phase begins. But before we explain the scoring, let's take a look at how the dominoes can be connected. First of all, the starting tile can connect to any terrain type. Aside from that, a domino must connect to another by matching at least one of its landscape tiles, either horizontally or vertically. The only other rule that players must adhere to is to build their kingdom in a 5x5 grid. If you can't play a domino this way, you must discard it. When all dominoes have been played, it's time to score. To calculate your score, count the number of matching adjoining terrains and multiply it by the number of crowns. Let's look at this kingdom as an example. It has 7 wheatfield terrains and 1 crown. 1 times 7 is 7, so the wheatfields score 7 points. This wheatfield on its own is not connected to any crowns, and so scores no points. Next, the gardens. There are 4 garden terrains and 1 crown. 1 times 4 is 4, and so the gardens score 4 points. Now the oceans. There are 4 ocean terrains and 1 crown. 1 times 4 is 4, and so the oceans also score 4 points. There are 2 marshland tiles and 1 crown, so 2 points to the marsh terrain. This woodland terrain has no crowns and is not connected to any other woodland terrain, so scores no points. And the same for this one. This one, however, scores 1 point, and these two score 4 because of the 2 crowns and the 2 terrain tiles. Finally, we have this single mine tile with 2 crowns. 1 times 2 is 2, so the mine scores 2 points. Now all you have to do is add up the points to calculate your score. In this case, 24. To make Kingdomino more challenging, there are additional rules that you can apply. Dynasty is a 3-round game where players' scores are added together after each round. The player with the highest score after these 3 rounds wins. The Middle Kingdom rewards players with an additional 10 points if their castle is central within their kingdom. The Harmony rule awards another 5 points to players if they didn't discard any dominoes. Finally, for a 2-player game, the Mighty Duel expands the playing area from 5x5 to 7x7. No additional points are scored, but the length and challenge of the game increases. So, that's Kingdomino. Drop a comment down below if you've played Kingdomino and to share your thoughts on the game. Thanks for watching.